I'm just here to report myself in a nutshell, so please don't judge me. And people have the impression that when you make your own clothes or when you do your own things, like in terms of like DIY, you spend less. Some of these numbers are just like, this is some people's rent, if I'm being very honest. In 2021, I spent Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. This video is going to be one that I thought was necessary to do to start off the new year. Now, I got the video idea from fellow creators on YouTube where they shared how much they spent in 2021, and I was like, wait a minute. Why don't I do that, but actually share how much I spent on fabrics? So this is outside trims, machines, travel, just fabrics for my brand and for making YouTube projects. And people have the impression that when you make your own clothes or when you do your own things, like in terms of like DIY, you spend less, but I feel it's actually the opposite. I feel like you end up spending more because you buy a fabric that will not work for a project. I feel you end up spending more money when you actually create your own garments. However, you do create garments that fit you a lot nicer, which means you tend to wear them for longer. So it's kind of like you just choose the side that works for you and you figure it out, okay? Now, towards the end of this video, I'm also going to share some tips that I think would be useful for me and for anyone watching the video in terms of controlling how much we plan to spend this year just on everything in general, especially when it comes to creating projects for yourself and in terms of buying fabrics, okay? Let's get into this video. I've written down all the expenses here and we'll just go through them month by month, all right? Let's do this. I'm just here to report myself in a nutshell, so please don't judge me. Some of these numbers are just like, this is some people's rent, if I'm being very honest. And I don't want to be too embarrassed, but at the same time, it's just like, babe, haba. But let's just do it month by month, okay? So in January 2021, I think we started the year off in a lockdown. So a lot of the projects I did, I believed I used fabrics I already had in my wardrobe. So when I went through my receipts, I actually realized I didn't spend anything on fabrics. I did pay for shipping and other expenses for like my business, but it says zero for January. So we're off to a good start. Well, off to a good start. Now, moving on to February, I spent £214 and 50 pence. Now, I noticed that the shops where I spent a lot of money for fabrics was Fabricland and myfabrics.co.uk. Like those two brands, if you're watching this video and your PR team just happens to be in the house, please reach out. We need to collaborate. My money that people have eaten in this life, that brings the total cost for fabrics to 214 and 50 pence. Now in March, I didn't spend as much, and I think in March I was sampling for my new collection, the Orwa collection. So I think I didn't buy a lot of new fabrics and I was just like, you know, coming up with patterns, doing more like YouTube tutorials. So I spent £55 and 96 pence. Don't worry, at the end we'll just do a sum of everything. All right, now in April I spent, whew, Lord, this was my salary when I worked in retail. But let's just be honest, let's just be real. In April, I spent £672 and 80 pence on fabrics. I know why I spent that much. That was the month I launched my Urwa collection, and the way I did my collections in 2021 was made to order. So I would buy 10 to 20 meters of the fabric for the garment and just keep it in like my storage. So when I get orders, then I would make the garments and send it out. I think that's why I spent that much in April. Now in May, I spent £265 and 7 pence. A lot better than April, but still quite a lot of money. I can't remember what exactly happened in May, but I think in May I started to do a lot of my like summary projects. And when I do a lot of summary projects, I tend to use Ankara, which I have a lot in stock. Now my Ankara, my sister sources for me from Nigeria and she sends them to me. So I have a specific batch I use for like my DIY projects, and then I actually stock some on my store, shop.kimdave.com. For anyone who's looking to buy Ankara fabrics, they come in 6-yard bundles. Please go and check them out. I need to make money to keep making videos, okay? It kind of has to balance out. Now moving on to June, I spent £31 and 42 pence. Now June, I think I had already like produced the collection for Urwa. I had started preparing for the pop-up, so I already had all of the materials I needed. Hence why June was a lot less compared to like the other months of the year. July was actually the month I had my wedding. My wedding was on the 30th of July, and a lot of fabrics I used for my 2 wedding outfits I had already ordered in, I think I ordered that either in April or in May, and they weren't very expensive if I'm being honest. If you haven't seen the videos where I shared how I made my wedding outfits, I think they'll be here on this side of the screen. I really broke down and took you guys on the entire process of like creating the patterns, testing the garments, draping the detachable train I had. There's like a whole series on my channel about how I made my wedding outfits. But I spent £121 and 9 pence in July. Now, August seems like a very fair month. I've noticed that on like the months where I'm mindful of my spending, I usually spend around £50. But the months I just go wild, I tend to go up to like £500, £700. So I started to actually notice a trend. So in August, which is my birthday month, my birthday is on the 16th of August. This was like after the wedding. I was preparing for my honeymoon, which I ended up not even going for. But I think by that time I'd realized how much I had spent in the year, like for planning the wedding, launching the collection, doing a pop-up. I spent £52 and 63 pence in August, which is actually not that bad. Like if I can spend from £50 to £100 a month on like fabrics and sewing supplies, that I don't mind. I think anything above 200 is just a bit too high in my opinion, especially if I'm not working on a new collection. Why am I spending that much money on fabrics? Why? Like, make it make sense. Anyways, in April, I spent £150 and 20 pence. I think in April, I was preparing for one of my big collaborations. I think April, October, the spends around that time was like around sponsorships and collaborations I was doing for my YouTube channel. And when I do like sponsorships like that, I do get paid, but I have to like buy the materials before I get paid like 30 days after the video goes up. So I'll probably buy like fabrics, threads, if I need to buy any specific trims. If I even need to buy something else that people don't realize is when you even make the garment, you need to style the piece in a way that looks good, looks attractive, so you're able to create content to share on social media to take people to watch the videos. So there's a lot more that goes into creating like DIY videos outside of just the fabrics and the sewing machine and the threads and the sewing patterns. Now in October, I spent £100 and 66 pence, which wasn't, I say it's like a kind of middle ground, very good point. In November, I spent £53 and 19 pence. This was around the time my intern started. So we focused more on working on my new collection for next year. I think that's why October, November was kind of like, you know, middle ground. This brings us to the last month of the year, which is December. December was just wild. I think I know why I spent this much in December. December, I did a lot of dresses, 1. 2, I had to start getting the like materials to create the samples for my SS22, Spring Summer 22 collection. So in December alone, I hope my mom is not watching this video because she will call me and be like, young lady, why did you spend that much? In December alone, I spent £888 and 4 pence. That is a lot of money. Like, that's a lot of money. Okay, now that we've gone through all of the amounts, let's add it up together, shall we? I'm very old school. I'm going to use my calculator. Let's do this. Wow. Wow. So in 2021, I spent £2,605 and 56 pence on fabrics alone. That's literally some people's salaries in like 2 or 3 months. Well, let's look on the bright side. because I don't want to feel too sad. Let's look at the bright side. Spending that much allowed me to create some beautiful and amazing projects with you guys. I got to recreate the Michelle Obama coat, which got a lot of positive feedback. I got to go back to cement pleat and made this beautiful long pleated halter neck gown. I tried out projects I'd never done before. I made a bra, which is wild. I actually made a bra, even though it didn't come out really like 100. The fact that I did it and like it materialized into life was so nice. Amongst many other projects that I'm so proud of, I made my wedding dress. Like, that would never get old. Does that dress fit me now? Probably not, but the memories will always remain special to me. And I'm going to share 4 tips that I have applied that worked for me on specific months, and I've just like noticed or like heard from other like fashion creators that works for them. And the first tip is, when you have a project that you want to do, especially if it's something that is a one-off for yourself or for your clients, before you buy any new fabrics, look through your stock or your stash of fabrics to see if there's something in there that you could possibly use, rather than go and buy something new without even like checking what you already have. The second tip is to reuse old samples or old garments to create new or fresh designs. And I remember doing a denim jacket with Pelumi of Sophilia Studio. And it was Pelumi's idea. Pelumi was like, let's use old jeans to actually create something new that we could wear for the current season and into the new year. And my husband just happened to have like 2 to 3 old pair of jeans that he was going to throw away. But I was like, please give them to me. Like, give them to me. I think I used a pair of his jeans and a pair of my old trouser, like jean trouser that I had, that I'd worn only a couple of times to create this really cool denim jacket that on a normal day I wouldn't have thought of making if Pelumi had not come up with the idea. Tip number 3 is to buy the quantity you need. Raise your hand if you've gone to the fabric shop and you plan to buy 2 meters, but maybe they had a promotion that if you buy more, you spend less per meter, or you spotted this fabric that you did not plan to buy. Please raise your hand, because I can't be the only one that does that, especially if I just go to the shop without having a set goal in mind. I end up spending money on fabrics that I don't need, or buy more fabrics than I actually need, which would help. We will now have extra fabric that you cannot use to make a whole garment, and they just pile up and pile up and pile up. The final one that I think is so useful is to always go shopping with a budget, or put the specific amount of money you need in a card, or just go there with the cash. That way, it sort of like restricts you from spending a lot more than you plan to spend. So if I'm going into a shop and my budget for a particular coat is, I don't know, £70, I know I will not look at fabrics that is £20 per meter, because that would not be enough to cover the cost of making that particular project. So make a budget, write a list. I'm still very old school. I'm one of those people that I still have a book. I love journals like these that help me budget for a project, for the week, for the month. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was one that the spirit just dropped it in my mind, and I'm glad I got to share it with you. I hope it inspires you, informs you, and make sure to share it with anyone that you think will find it useful or informative to watch, so we all learn and thrive together. Now, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know down below which other topics or projects you'd like me to cover in the fashion business series realm. If you have any other suggestions or tips as well, share them in the comment section. And until my next video, have a good morning, afternoon, and evening wherever you are. Bye.